Yo, what's going on YouTube? Today we have a match, Sakazuki versus Red Purple Law. It was a pretty interesting match to say the least. We're gonna go over some of the decisions that I made while in this match, the decisions my opponent made while in this match, some of the things that happened, and just kind of sort of give an overall as to how to play the deck better, things we should be doing, things we shouldn't be doing, just things of that nature, so that we just have a better understanding of the deck as a whole. So to begin with, my opponent opens up pretty decently. I opened up not the greatest. I actually think I decided to mulligan this hand because it didn't include. It actually, I think it included a blocker law, or I'm sorry, a reducer law, which I actually should have kept because it would have helped a little bit in the situation that I was in later on, as you're going to see. But it wasn't the most optimal hand. If I was facing against Gecko Moria and I had seen that opening hand, I'd be like, okay, cool, I can work with this. But it wasn't exactly what I wanted to see, and it wasn't exactly what I needed. So I decided to go ahead and throw that back. Go ahead and get the top five out of the way. Everybody's all shuffled up and knows what they want. We begin. I lost a dice roll, so I'm going first. Wind up ramping my one dime, passing my opponent. Don't really have a whole bunch of opening moves, so he just, I think he plays a Searcher turn one. Yeah, he taps, he plays a Searcher. He was able to see that in the opening hand, and really I'm just gonna let you know that he just rolls into everything he needs every single turn, and it's a case of where it's like every single card he needs at the exact time he needs it, it's just there for him. And so I go into this turn, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I know that he had picked up the event that's going to go ahead and bottom deck two of my cards. So I'm trying to think about like how it is I can play around this in the upcoming turns. I think that going 8 to life was a good decision. I knew that I'd go ahead and get that off of him. And I knew that he would. In my head, I'm thinking I don't think he's going to establish another creature because, he doesn't want to get rid of it. And then he winds up discarding one of the Rob Lucci's. And I'm like, okay, cool. He got rid of Rob Lucci. That 9 times out of 10 means there's another Rob Lucci in his hand. And when I have this information, it's going to make my next turn a bit more difficult because I wind up taking this life. Like, no big deal. I believe it's my first life that I take. And he plays a Kuzan. Now, at this point in time, I don't have any 3 costs to play. I think I have a Rush Zoro in my hand. I ramp 2 Dawn, and I seriously consider playing Firefish right here because I thought that maybe that might be a good idea to go ahead and Firefish the Kuzan, swing 8 into life, and bottom deck the Kuzan. But he also had 8 cards in hand, and I'm thinking to myself, well, he's got 8 in hand. He's going to disc 2 anyway because he's probably got a couple of 2K counters. So I opt into playing Blocker Law instead, and this was a very, very crucial turnaround of the game. This was a very good hit. Very good hit. I wound up hitting a Gekomora and his other Lucci. So I'm like, all right, sweet. I just got 2 really good cards out of his hand. And he's really got to be gassed. His hand has to be gassed for him to be able to make any kind of play outside from this one because I'm like, all right, I just got rid of 2 really good top ends. I know now all he's got is probably something to reduce the cost of my creatures and then bottom deck them. Right here, I'm thinking really, really hard on if I want to play another creature or not because I know that he has that event and I see he has that Kuzan, so I know that I'm going to get rid of 2 creatures. I ultimately decide to go ahead and bottom deck the Tashishi and play another creature. I play the Beppo to ramp 2. The reason I decided to go ahead and play the Beppo and ramp the 2 was because I knew that if my opponent had cards to go ahead and get rid of the cards I had on board and I didn't force him to use them on the upcoming turn, he would use them the turn after that. And I know that I didn't really want to give him full value of his card, but at the same time, I really needed him to use other cards to reduce costs so that I could progress the game state. But it doesn't work out for me like that as you're about to secure. He actually winds up top decking the stage, I believe, and plays the stage. I think he does. I think he goes 5 at life, and I make a really, really big misplay right here, and I actually take the life. and I should have countered out. This was like I said, this was a really big mistake on my behalf. I wanted all the cards in my hand. I kind of sort of like, I didn't necessarily need them. I just wanted them. And this little greedy move right here cost me an additional life, more so than what I should, because I decided that I wanted to take this. Again, I already know that I'm about to lose both these creatures, but it still would have been smarter to go ahead and block right here. But like I said, I was thinking to myself, I wanted him to use whatever it is, events that he had, whatever it is that he could have used to reduce costs. I just wanted him to go ahead and, just like I said, just use it. So I decide ultimately not to block, which was, again, a bad decision. I should have either blocked or countered out. I might have gained the hand advantage, but even if I would have blocked, I wouldn't have lost a life, and I'd still be advantaged in my life. And though I did +2 cards, those +2 cards didn't help me in the long run, unfortunately. Now, this was a very interesting turn, though. Now, here's the interesting thing about this turn. As I told you earlier, I wound up getting the Gecko Moria, and I wound up getting the Lucci out of his hand. So all I'm thinking in my head is, all right, so he's got to have like a very, very particular card set up. And he plays the Searcher and gets a Hina. And I'm thinking to myself, oh man, that Hina was really good, because now he can just go into a Hina and then use his events as he had planned on doing previously, and not use any of the previous cards. So at this point, I'm like, oh well, fuck, that's not really good for me that he top decked that Hina, because he does wind up pitching it, which really tells me that, oh man, he might have a lot more minusing effects than what I originally thought. And so he goes ahead and uses the stage, minuses my law by 2, and then uses the event and bottoms deck the both of those creatures, which is just man, if they didn't have that event, I'm telling you, this matchup would be so much more easier. But you know, it is what it is. He winds up then going 7 at life, and I wind up taking this because, again, I don't want to give up the cards that I have in my hand. I don't think I have any 2Ks at this point. I think I top deck into a 2K right here. At this point, I'm just like, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and ramp back up to 5 Don. It should be enough Don for me to take care of both the creatures he has on his board. I wound up thinking to myself, what's the best game plan? I didn't have anything that I could have played. I didn't have like a reducer law. I didn't have a blocker. I didn't have a Gordon. I was really in a very sticky spot right here where I couldn't really plus off of any kind of move. I couldn't summon a creature and then plus off of summoning another creature. Or maybe I do play a creature and then I Fire Fist. What do I do here? No, I think I just go. Yeah, I think I just go straight into his life. I'm trying to debate what it is I want to do here. I think I. What do I do? I tap 4. Oh, I did have the law. Oh, it's okay. So yeah. So now I remember. Okay, so I played the law, and I did have an Otama. I top decked the Otama. I played the law. I think I got the law out of life actually, and then I go 6 into Kuzan, and he winds up just letting the Kuzan die, which I was very happy for. I was like, okay, he's not gonna give up 2K counters. That let me know immediately right there that he's got level reduction in his hand and he doesn't want to get rid of it. And he let me know he has it either in the form of events or he had it in the form of counter. Either way, I was pretty sure that he had some sort of reduction in his hand. So in this moment here, I'm thinking to myself, well, he got rid of the Hina and he plays the event. So he's got the event, he got rid of the Hina. He would have to have another Gecko Moria, and that's really like, I'm thinking to myself, you have to have another Gecko Moria and another Lucci or another event to be able to get rid of both of my monsters. And I'm like, oh man, that's a that's like a slim possibility. He's only got 4 in the hand, I think, at this point in time. So I'm like, there's no way that he could have the perfect card combination of cards to go ahead and get him there. I mean, it's possible he can get rid of one creature, but I'm just like, there's no way he can get rid of both. And then lo and behold, with Jesus and everybody on this guy's sack, he top decks a Gecko Moria. Like the literal perfect. When I say this guy just snowballs me into victory here, like his hand, he didn't have anything at this point. Like he had a bunch of 2Ks and no way of reduction. He just didn't have anything. That top deck of Gecko Moria single-handedly put him back into this game. Like, he could have played. Like there was nothing. There was literally nothing in his hand. Like, he didn't have anything. That was just literally top deck. And from here on, he just top decks into top decks into top deck. It was just like, oh, wow. So glad that's so convenient for my opponent. And then, like, it's so funny because we wound up having a discussion about this matchup earlier. And then after watching this footage, I'm just like, bro, like, every point you made isn't even valid if you're top decking into your win. Like, you didn't have an actual strategy for victory here. You just came into it. So he actually manages to get a Gekamori off and go ahead and pop both my creatures. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, coolio. It's really nice that you were able to top deck into that. And then at this point, I'm just like, all right. I can go ahead and counter out of this swing I got coming my way. And then play a blocker. And then I should be able to go ahead and nuke his board. I wound up going up by 2. Let's see. I don't think I have any more Dawn Rampers. I was at pretty good Dawn this game, and I actually had some pretty good reduction this game. It was just that he just kept top decking into the perfect card after the perfect card after the perfect card. It was after this moment right here that he just keeps getting everything he needs for the progression of this game. It was just very, very unfortunate. So at any rate, I know that I need to clear the board. I know that I could go for life, but I know that he has a lot of cards in hand. I'm banking on some of those being 2K counters on the count of how he didn't get rid of anything in his hand and how much it seemed like he was trying to hold these cards in his hand for a next turn play, which is why he let the Lucci go, because he could have saved the Lucci, but it would have costed him 2 cards in hand, which would have been two counter cards. And because, like I said, because I noticed he didn't give up those cards, it made me realize that he has either monster counter or event counter. And like, I was really banking on event counter and monster reduction with no pop, especially since I got rid of Lucci. But once he did that, I was in a very binding spot. So right here, now I know earlier I said, oh, I didn't have any plays, but this was actually the turn where I couldn't play a creature and get rid of both of his creatures on the board at the same time. So I'm really just thinking here, and in all reality, I could have swung into the rested character and gotten rid of the 9-drop, but that would have also have costed me a 2K counter out of hand. So I just decided that I'm just going to go 8 it is rested to make sure that I get it off the board. He did think on saving it for us hot second. He asked me, was I going for his life? I was like, no, I'm going here. I wanted back to the Fire Fist and bottom decking the Lucci. I don't think I have any ramp at this point. I think I draw 2, or I might have too many in my hand to draw 2. Or do I play a blocker? I think I play a blocker right here. I might block her up. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if I block, I got a couple of 2K counters in hand, so I don't think that he's going to be able to get to my life. I should be good and golden to play a blocker and then be able to counter and then try and rush my way into game on the next go around, because I had 2 Rush Zoros in my hand. It's just like, all right, I may be able to make something happen here on my next go around. He draws, and again, he didn't draw anything that would have helped him to remove these cards off of the board. But he does have a brand new, which top decks him into something to help remove my cards out of the board. And I'm just like, well, this is all very good and dandy for you. I'm so glad that all this is working out in your favor, and you don't have to worry about anything because the game got you. He goes ahead and I think he drops a 1-drop here, and then just activates the Hound Blaze. I think he goes 9 to life. Yeah, he plays the 1-drop, reduces Hound Blaze, 9 to life, bottom decking. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Now, like, again, the craziest thing about this is that he was top decking into his outs every single guy. Like, the turn before, it was Gekamori. This turn, it was Hound's Blaze. It was just like, oh, okay, you're just Himothy, you know what I mean? He's thinking if he wanted to go any higher with his swings, and he decides to go 9. I actually had the counter in hand to counter out of the 9. I think he actually decides he wants to go 10 here instead, and I wind up countering out of that. No, he does go 9. I wind up countering out of the 9 and taking the 8. And after this, I just it's just GG no re here. I'm trying to figure out what it is that I want to do, what it is that I can do for my upcoming turn, if there's any way that I can nuke his board and survive. And I'm just like, oh man, there's got to be something. But he winds up swinging 9 with the Gecko. I've only got 2 in the hand. I take no good triggers, nothing in life that was going to really like help me. No blockers I could play in the situation. He goes into another brand new, and when you lo and behold it, he finds another Hound's Blaze. It's just like he just kept getting, like I say, every card that he needed to see. He had a Barstow in hand too. I believe he drew that for turn, which again is just like, it was just again would have been another removal card that he would have seen, which would have, either way it goes, he would have been able to get rid of my cost 4. So it was just like, I was just, again, he was just snowballing me into like top deck and the top deck and the top deck. It was just like, all right, guy, I can't do anything against that. I wound up drawing. I'm trying to see if there's any kind of options, but the fact that he's got potentially 1, 2, 3, 4 swings, I was pretty sure that I was out there. I only had 4 Don. It was just a situation to where, like I said, if he just didn't keep rolling into everything he needed, I really think I would have been able to win this game. But he had a lot of counter power in hand too. He had actually, I don't think he had that much counter power. I think he had he had a 2K in his hand. I don't think he had another 2K. I wound up going to a Ragey trying to draw 2, see if that helps me out any. Maybe it gets me into a blocker, and it actually does, but that unfortunately doesn't do anything for me. So I just decided that I'm just going to go ahead and Don minus bottom deck, play a blocker. And I think I had like I didn't have any way of surviving this. I had enough counter power in hand to try and maybe hopefully get out of 1 swing, but there's no way I'm getting out of 3 swings. I could have countered out of the brand new swing. I could counter out of the block, but he wound up reducing and Hound blazing it before I could even do that. And then just swung in for game. And yeah, that was Law versus Sakazuki. I like to say that match really didn't go too well for me. My opponent just really was very fortunate in that game. But it's fine. It's fine. The deck still performs pretty good. Was just one of those unfortunate situations. Like I got really lucky with my hits, but my opponent got even luckier with his. So yeah, that was the match. I hope you guys enjoy. See you next time.
I had like a bunch of Dawn wrapping in that game. It was the same as last game. I had a bunch of Dawn wrapping, nothing minus. But it felt like it's been like that for all day. Like earlier today, as I was playing, I had all minus no Dawn wrap. Okay.
I think
One of those days.
I think it's there's never a world of in the same way I feel about with like the current power level of the set. I think it needs ADL to be like. I thought you were dead too. It looks at me. I'm like, oh fuck, there goes my strategy. I think it just needs like my entire game was just 2 days. I'm like, and stuff to get there.
I think it's pretty.